All right. Thank you, Rabbi Sherwood. Good morning to some of you. Good afternoon to the rest of you. My name is Ian Sachs. I'm the JNF Future National President here based in Scottsdale, Arizona. For the next 30 minutes or so, the purpose of this call is to really focus on the positivity. We have a lot of spiritual leaders, rabbis here, a very brief but powerful agenda. The idea is to bring peace into Shabbat in our lives, to reset ourselves, to find strength and unity by being on the Zoom. As a matter of fact, our people have always had a positive perspective, and rightfully so. Right now, it's very hard to keep that with all that's going on. The last 3 weeks, we've witnessed atrocities starting on October 7th, and the difficulties that have come with that. There's dangerous rallies and legitimate threats to our community, the rise of anti-Semitism, and so on. But our people is always about the positive perspective of things, and to not lose sight of the forest for the trees. There are prominent people speaking up. There's great groups putting together their energy and resources for good. And day to day, there are miracles still happening in light of everything that's going on. We're all in this together, our community, the entire world. We're here for Israel and the Israeli people. For me personally, as a parent, I've got 3 young kids. It is very hard to parent and pretend like nothing is going on. Business and day to day, trying to keep things business as usual is close to impossible. As it relates to Israel directly, Rachel Goldberg, who you see on the news every day, is my friend's sister, and her son, Hirsch Goldberg Poland, is a hostage in Gaza, and he's 22. My wife has family in Israel. We have friends and loved ones, and I know a lot of these things I'm saying we can all relate to. So my quick message today, as Russell has always said, 25% of the world might not always love us. 25% of the world probably will and does, and 50% of the world is fairly neutral. I personally try to spend my time on the positive and the energy focused on those whose minds are open to learning more, to having conversations. And that's what I've been doing with my day-to-day, sticking to the theme of positivity. I'm part of groups here that are predominantly not Jewish for fundraising, and I like to share with others who have questions and are willing to learn more about what is going on. And it's a great use of time. I've done the same at my preschool, my kids' preschool. It's 40% is not Jewish. Focusing your time and energy on those things for good, I think, is the best thing we can be doing right now. And anyone that responds to social media or just has questions. So with that said, thank you all so much for being here today. We need each other more now more than ever. Shabbat Shalom. Let's bring in the weekend and Shabbat on a really great note. And we've got, a nice, powerful agenda coming up. I'd like to now formally introduce Rabbi Jay Sherwood, who opened up for us this morning, the JNF USA Rabbi for Israel and Rabbi of Temple Shalom in Colorado Springs. Rabbi, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Kol ha'ulam kulo, the entire world, all of it, Gesher Tsar Ma'od, is a very narrow bridge. V'ha'ikar, the essence, the essential thing, lo lefached klal, to not be afraid at all. The words are a paraphrase of a teaching from the great Hasidic master, Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, taken from his Likutei Moharan, his great collection of writings. And the words that we know, perhaps made most famous by Ofra Chaza, the wonderful Israeli singer, the melody that we know, is a melody that tells a story, written, by the way, by an American rabbi who was visiting Israel during the Yom Kippur War. If you listen carefully to the music as we sing these words that we know, at the beginning of the music, you can hear the trepidation in the way the music has been written, of standing in front of that bridge, in standing in front of that scary place. Life is filled with challenges, and we need to be not afraid to face those challenges, even though they may be difficult as a narrow bridge. But as the music builds to the second half of the song, we hear the fear disappear. We hear the walking across the bridge. And as we come into the third part of the refrain of the song, we hear the strength in the resolve to face those difficult challenges. And then at the end, it comes back to the original musical motif. Because when we face a challenge and defeat that challenge, another one presents itself, as we have in our lives now, in our personal lives, and in what's going on in Israel. And so we sing these words. The challenges are ahead of us, but we will not be afraid. Kol haolam kulo gesher tsar me'od, gesher tsar me'od, gesher tsar me'od. Kol haolam kulo gesher tsar me'od, gesher tsar me'od. והעיקר לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל. והעיקר לא לפחד כלל. יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי. כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, גשר צר מאוד, גשר צר מאוד. כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, גשר צר מאוד. And as the soldiers of the IDF stand right in front of that bridge, perhaps with fear in their hearts and fear in their eyes, we stand behind them and beside them as we ask for God's blessing for their safety and their security and their success. As we say, Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov, V'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah, Hu Yevarech et Chayalei Tzavah Haganal Yisrael, Ha'omdim al Mishmar Artzenu, Val Irei Eloheinu, Migvul HaLebanon ad Midbar Mitzrayim, Umin Hayam Hagadol ad Lavo Ha'arava, B'yabasha Ba'avir Uvayam. Yitain Adonai et Oivenu, Ha'hakim Aleinu Nigafim Bifnehem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yishmor v'yatzil et chayaleinu mikol tzara u'tzuka u'mikol nega u'machala v'yishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'kol ma'aseh yadehem. Yadber son'enu tachtenu v'atrem b'keret Yeshua v'ateren nitzachon. V'kuyam bahem hakatuv ki Adonai Elohechem ha'ulech imachem l'hilachem lachem im oivechem Yehoshia etchem v'yomar amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless the fighters of the Israeli Defense Forces who stand guard over our land and the cities of our God, from the border of Lebanon to the desert of Egypt, and from the great sea into the approaches of the Arava, on the land, in the air, and on the sea. May God cause the enemies who rise up against us to be struck down before them. May the Holy One, blessed be God, preserve and rescue our fighting men and women from every trouble and distress, and from every plague and illness. And may God send blessing and success in their every endeavor. May God lead our enemies under the sway, and may God grant them salvation and crown them with victory. And may there be fulfilled for them the verse, for it is Adonai your God who goes with you to battle against your enemies for you and to save you. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Sherwood. That was beautiful. I'd like to now next introduce Rabbi Daniel Eskow from JNF USA, Rabbi for Israel from Brookline, Massachusetts. Rabbi.
Thank you, Ian. So I'd like to share this morning a prayer I wrote for Israel. I was struggling to put into words what so many of us are feeling, for me personally, as a mother, as a Jew, as a rabbi, as a human being. And so I'd like to share some words with you today. Thank you for the opportunity. On October 7th, the world heard our screams. Screams from parents whose children were ripped from their arms. Screams from children forced to experience unimaginable terror and pain. Screams from the Nova Festival, where music morphed into callous murder. Screams from the elderly and disabled who were unable to protect themselves. Screams from frontline heroes who fought to save lives. Screams from the mouths of soldiers who prepared for war. Screams from Jews around the world as our hearts were broken into a million pieces. Pieces that will never completely fit together again. Pieces that are filled with anger, confusion, and despair. Pieces that cry out for those we have lost, but pieces that must now come together in bravery, solidarity, and support for our beloved Israel. Our hearts might be broken, but we are here. Here when so many of our fellow Jews cannot be. Here to mourn together, here to fight together, here to rebuild together, here to remember together. We are here, but just being here is not enough. We must persevere, as it is our perseverance that will ultimately define us. Will define who we are as human beings, as mothers, fathers, daughters, and sons. Will define our collective future as a Jewish people. Will define the security and stability of our homeland, Israel. And through our perseverance, we will fight and overcome Jewish hate of all forms. To love with our hearts, to teach with our words, to lead with our strength, and to do so passionately, with every fiber of our Jewish hearts and souls, and at this raw moment in time, with our anger and our tears. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Eskow. I'd like to now next introduce Rabbi Rob Tobin from JNF USA, Rabbi for Israel, and Rabbi of B'nai Shalom in West Orange, New Jersey.
Thank you and good afternoon. In this week's Parsha, Parshat Lech Lecha, God says to Avram, Vayomer Adonai el Avram lech lecha me'artzecha mimoladetcha mibeit avicha el haaretz asher areka. Go forth from your native land, from the land of your father's house, your birth, to the land that I will show you. Ve'esecha legoy gadol va'avarechecha va'gadla shemecha ve'heh bracha. And I will make you a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. Va'avarcha mevarechecha u'mekalelcha aor. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. And all the families of the earth will bless themselves by you. After this beautiful and life-sustaining promise, soon in chapter 14, war breaks out in the land. And the invaders, according to verse 11, seized all the wealth of Sodom and Amorah and all their provisions and went their way. And they also took Lot, the son of Avram's brother, and his possessions, and departed, for he had chosen to settle in Sodom. When Avram heard that his kinsman's household had been taken captive, he mustered his retainers born into his household, numbering 318, and he went in pursuit as far as Dan, and at night he and his servants deployed against them and defeated them. And he pursued them as far as Chovah, north of Damascus. And then in verse 16, he brought back all the possessions. And he also brought back his kinsman Lot and his possessions and the women and the rest of the people. And we see how many captives had been taken in the war. And later, in a time where almost they could taste peace, the word of Adonai comes to Avram in a vision, and he says, "Fear not, Avram, I am a shield for you. Your reward will be great." And in the vision, God took him outside and he said, "Look towards the heaven. Count the stars if you are able to count them." Continuing, "So shall your offspring be." And Avram put his trust in Adonai, and it was vayachsheveh lo tzedakah, and it was reckoned to him to be like tzedakah. So we see that our relationship with each other, the land, and the nations around us are all in play in this week's Parsha. First and last, we must know that we are blessed. We are in loving relationship with God, each other, and the land, And those who bless us will be blessed, and those who curse us will be cursed. And second, we see that there is evil and war and selfishness and captivity in the land ever since the most ancient of days, that these tools of human destruction are well honed, and we know of them better than any other. Lot is overrun by a war of evil people solely for the sin of having chosen to live in peace in front of them. And he is taken captive beyond those borders far to the north. And Avram pursues them even into the night to bring them back, and not just Lot, but the women and his companions. We are commanded in Sefer Vayikra and Leviticus, do not stand idly by the blood of your neighbor. Our people, all people in the land, must be protected and kept resilient. Our people globally have responded to the cry not to stand idly by the blood of our neighbors, with tens of thousands of survivor families dislocated and broken by the ongoing attack of October 7th. We have rallied and fundraised to find hotels and kibbutzim and community centers and private homes that are now full of those who need our help. The Alexander Muss School has sent its students home and opened its campus for the displaced. Counseling, medical help, housing, schools, and just the normal needs of life like playgrounds and activities for children who are just stuck wherever they are. All these things are being brought to bear by our efforts in the land today. We will not stand idly by the blood of our neighbor, and we will bring our people home. But not only home from captivity, but home, back to their own homes, which will have to be rebuilt and replanted for the coming days of calm, which we know must surely lie over the not-so-distant horizon. In the end of the Parsha, we read the blessing of the peace treaty. And shockingly, Avram asks for nothing. 14:22, Avram says to Melech Sodom, the king of Sodom, I swear, I lift up my hand to Adonai, God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. I will not take so much as a thread or a sandal strap of what is yours. You shall not say, it is I who made Avram rich. But even more shocking to the modern mind, Avram takes all that he has won and all that he has earned, and he divides it among those who rolled up their sleeves and did the hard work with him. Verse 24, for nothing, for me nothing, but what my servants have used up. And as for the share of the parties who went with me, Aner, Eshkol, and Mamre, let them take their share. Rabbi Levi ben Gershon writes in his commentary, it's clear that if Avram had not said this to the king of Sodom, it would have been an embarrassment for Aner, Eshkol, Mamre, the others who did the work, to have to beg or ask from this king for their portion of the proceeds. Even though Abraham was the central piece, the root who caused this war to be victorious, he did not want Natan lo chelko, that he should be given any reward. Avram makes sure that all those who made it happen are given their due and their credit, and that they should not be seen as lesser in the eyes of the king of Sodom. Every donor, every volunteer, every worker shares in the full credit of everything we do. And those who will receive the resources gathered at this difficult time should never have to ask, never be embarrassed after all they have been through to think that they have to beg. And Avram defers his own personal reward until long after everyone else has been fully cared for and in dignity, which is why ultimately God says that for Avram, his faith is understood as tzedakah, righteous generosity, justice. In the end, we are not asked to have faith today that God will redeem our captives. We must achieve that. We're not asked to believe that God will fight the war. We must do that. We must make all the sacrifices necessary to save, to protect, to bring home, to rebuild, and to secure. We cannot rely on an angel or an ally. It is ours to do. And in the end, when the day of joy arrives, we will know that God has been our shield along the way, even as we are God's hands and hearts here on earth. And no one will say that the victory was theirs alone, but rather it is ours with the blessing of the one. May God bless those who defend our people and our land. May God bless and heal those in need of healing, body and soul. May God strengthen the hands and hearts of those who are supporting our people in need. And may God bless each of you as you struggle to lead, to console, and to inspire our people wherever you are. Shabbat shalom lachem ulechol Beit Yisrael ulechol Yoshvei Tevel. Amen, amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Tobin, thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce JNF professional, Bryn Tolley. Bryn.
Thank you. Our next song, Lean on Me, it's not necessarily a Jewish song by nature, but I know summer camps and youth groups sing it all over the country. And I hope it serves as a reminder and a comfort that no matter how isolated and lonely we feel, we're not alone. We're all here together and we have each other. Thank you, everybody.
Bryn, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. A very special guest now. I'd like to introduce Sasha Lee. She's a recent Alexander Muss High School and Israel student who returned from Israel just last month, and she's going to share a letter she wrote entitled Dear Israel. Sasha, please take it away.
Hi. Dear Israel, it's been 2 weeks and 1 day since we came home. Not 1 hour of my day has gone by when I haven't thought about my life back in Israel. 7 weeks ago, I had no idea that I would have to get sent home from a place that meant so much to me. When I first got to campus, I had no idea what to expect. There were all these unfamiliar faces, and I was so nervous to begin my experience there. By the end of the first week, I felt like I had lived with these people for years. Being at AMHSI connected me to so many amazing people, including some of my best friends now. Not only were the kids amazing, but the teachers at MUS were so dedicated to what they did and truly enhanced my experience with their enthusiasm and knowledge. What we got to experience there was an amazing opportunity for me to learn more about Israel and its history. Not only did the program teach us about our Jewish state, but they also took us on amazing field trips where we got the chance to learn about historic events and their original location. Even though I'm no longer in Israel, I feel strongly about continuing my Jewish learning experience through lots of opportunities like my Jewish youth group and continuing to educate myself and others on what's happening there right now. I hope to return to Israel soon and create even more amazing memories. In the meantime, I have continued to stay in touch with my friends and staff at MUS and will be forever grateful for the amazing relationships and experience that AMHSI helped me form. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sasha, for your beautiful message. I'd like to now introduce Rabbi Nicole Guzik, co-senior rabbi at Sinai Temple in Los Angeles. Rabbi.
Hi, everyone. It's really an honor to be with you. For me on the West Coast, here with all of you, praying and just joining this incredible group of people who stand in solidarity. I have the honor of reading the prayer for Israel, and then I get the chance to help usher in Shabbat with the lighting of Shabbat candles. Avinu Shabbat Shamayim, Sur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Geulatenu, Hagen Alecha be'evrat chasdecha, Ufros Alecha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha v'atmitcha l'rashecha sarecha v'yotzecha, V'taknem be'etzah tova milfanecha, Chazek et Yedei Meginei Eretz Kodshenu, V'hanchilem Eloheinu Yeshua, V'ater nitzachon te'atrem, V'natata shalom ba'aretz v'simchat olam leyoshvecha, V'nomar, Amen. Dear God, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen. You'll bear with me as I try to bring you into my office with the lighting of the candles. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. I wanted to show you this candle. Maybe you saw that I had a third candle that was lit in honor of something I want to explain in a moment. I have a feeling many of you have also lit third candles over the course of these past few Shabbatot. And it reminds me of the Midrash in which we read about Adam in the Garden of Eden. And Adam, we are told in the Midrash, in this rabbinic commentary, that he is unbelievably afraid because he's never experienced darkness before. And so he's sitting in the middle of the Garden of Eden and the sun is beginning to set and he grows fearful and frightened and scared. Certainly emotions that I know each and every one of us has felt over the course of the past few weeks. And yet at a particular point when the darkness feels overwhelming and it feels almost as if it can choke him, he has the divine inspiration to reach down towards his feet, and he finds two pieces of flint rock and he takes the pieces of rock and he strikes them against each other. And lo and behold, with God's help, he creates light. And I take that midrash to heart when we light this third candle, because this candle is supposed to be both in memory of the lives that have been lost, the 1,400 lives that have been lost, but also a candle of hope. Knowing that it will be the light, the divine light that each and every one of us is meant to bring in this world, that will carry our people from this excruciating moment of darkness into a time in which we hopefully experience a brighter tomorrow. I know as I light this third candle, I think about the hostages in Gaza, and I pray with my entire being that they can feel the light of our prayers. Somehow feel the light of our prayers, and they too continue to hold a spark of hope. May we have the courage and the bravery to walk through this moment of darkness and feel God's inspiration to understand how each of us is meant to be a messenger of light, a messenger of faith, and a messenger of hope. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Guzik. To close out with a couple of words, just a quick reminder, there's no daily Israel briefing this Sunday, so we'll see you next Monday. And thank you all for being here. Really a beautiful way for us to end the week together, move into Shabbat. Again, just a very good, positive experience and way to start the weekend. We'd like to close out now with Bryn Tolley again, who's going to be leading the Hatifa. Bryn. Bryn, thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have a great weekend. Take care.